For nearly 20 years, our lives were calm, steady, and beautifully mundane. We lived in a cozy, two-bedroom house on the outskirts of Brookville, a sleepy town where time seemed to slow down. My husband, David Thompson, was a well-loved history teacher at the local high school. I, Emily Thompson, ran a quaint antique shop on Main Street. Our daily routine rarely changed. Morning coffee on the porch, afternoons at work, quiet evenings with books or old movies. Our neighbors respected our space, and we cherished the simplicity of our existence. We had no kids, no pets, and no major drama. Until the letter arrived. It was a rainy Tuesday in early March when I first noticed it on the kitchen counter. A cream-colored envelope with no return address and our names written in neat cursive. At first, I thought it might be an invitation or perhaps a letter from an old friend. David opened it, and as he read, I watched the color drain from his face. He didn't say a word, just folded it up, placed it in the pocket of his coat, and told me he needed some air. He walked out into the rain, without an umbrella. He didn't come back until after midnight. I stayed up, waiting, my anxiety growing with each passing hour. When he finally returned, drenched and exhausted, he barely said a word. He just kissed my forehead, whispered that he loved me, and went to bed. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering what on earth could shake my steady, dependable husband so deeply. The next morning, while David was in the shower, I found the letter. It was tucked behind his copy of the Civil War Chronicles, a book he often reread. My hands trembled as I opened the envelope. The note inside was brief, but its implications were staggering. I know who you really are, and I know what you did in Chicago, 1997. Chicago? David had always told me he was born and raised in a small town in Minnesota and had never lived in a major city. The letter felt like a crack in the foundation of our entire relationship. When I confronted him, he looked at me with a pain I hadn't seen before. He asked me to sit down, and then he told me everything. David Thompson wasn't his real name. His name was Daniel Harper. In 1997, he had worked for a large investment firm in Chicago. A massive corporate scandal had rocked the firm, millions of dollars in embezzled funds, forged documents, and destroyed lives. Daniel, my husband, had been caught in the middle of it all. He insisted he wasn't the perpetrator. In fact, he claimed he had tried to blow the whistle, but the real culprits framed him to cover their tracks. Facing jail time, and with no one willing to believe him, he fled, changed his name, and started over in Brookville. I sat there in shock, trying to reconcile the man I knew, the gentle, honest, compassionate man who brought me flowers every Saturday and remembered every anniversary, with a fugitive from a corporate scandal. My world felt like it was tilting. He told me he had spent years looking over his shoulder, afraid that one day his past would catch up to him. And now it had. By the end of the week, our quiet existence had been shattered. Someone, the letter writer, perhaps, had leaked David's true identity to the media. Our front yard was suddenly swarming with reporters and news vans. Cameras flashed through our windows. A popular podcast even ran an episode titled, "The Teacher Who Vanished," the Daniel Harper story. The school placed David on immediate leave pending an investigation. Parents were outraged. Some demanded he be fired, while others offered quiet support. To make matters worse, someone vandalized our garage door with red spray paint. The word liar screamed at us every time we stepped outside. I felt like we were living in a fishbowl. Our phones buzzed constantly with calls from journalists, strangers, and people from David's past. Some accused, others threatened, and a few offered sympathy. Through it all, I tried to keep us grounded. We spoke with a lawyer, a woman named Sarah Briggs, who had experience in identity law and whistleblower cases. She believed David and agreed to help him prove that he had been set up. Her strategy involved tracking down old colleagues and accessing sealed records. It wasn't easy. Many people had moved on or refused to talk. But slowly, pieces of the puzzle came together. One of the key figures in the scandal, a former executive named Leonard Bryce, had recently been indicted on unrelated charges. In a plea deal, He admitted to orchestrating the embezzlement scheme and confirmed that David, or rather, Daniel, had tried to expose it. With this revelation, the narrative began to shift. Media outlets updated their stories. The school district lifted David's suspension. Still, the damage to our reputation lingered. Our neighbors looked at us differently. Some avoided eye contact. Others pretended nothing had happened. A few brave souls knocked on our door to offer casseroles, kind words, or simply a listening ear. We appreciated every gesture. We leaned on each other like never before. The chaos had forced us to confront hard truths, not just about David's past, but about our marriage. I realized that loving someone means accepting their full story, even the parts they wish they could erase. David wasn't perfect, but neither was the world that judged him. He had tried to do the right thing and had paid dearly for it. And now he was trying again. Months passed. The media storm died down. Our lives found a new rhythm, though nothing would ever be quite the same. David returned to teaching, though he carried a new nameplate. Mr. Harper. The school board believed that honesty was the best policy, and the students, surprisingly, respected him more for it. His story became a cautionary tale, but also an inspiring one. As for me, I expanded my antique shop into an online store. The publicity, however unwanted, brought curious customers from all over. I started writing a memoir, chronicling our journey from quiet contentment to public scrutiny. It was therapeutic and, I hoped, helpful to others facing their own reckonings. Our love endured. We had survived the storm together. In some ways, the chaos had deepened our bond.
We were no longer hiding from the past.
We were living with it, learning from it, and building something stronger. Our quiet life was gone, but in its place stood a life that was real, honest, and undeniably ours. And that, in the end, was worth everything.